Matthew Winkler and his tragic death. Matthew Winkler was a 31-year-old pastor at the 4th Street Church of Christ in Selmer, Tennessee, not Luxora, Arkansas. He was well regarded by his congregation, known for being energetic, compassionate, and deeply devoted to his faith and family. He lived with his wife, Mary Winkler, and their 3 young daughters, appearing to outsiders as a stable, loving family deeply involved in church life. Underscore 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 underscore. The day of his death, March 22nd, 2006. Matthew failed to show up for a scheduled Wednesday evening church service, which was highly unusual given his reliability. Concerned church members went to the Winkler home to check on him. Inside the bedroom, they found Matthew dead, lying on the floor, covered in a blanket. He had been shot in the back with a 12-gauge shotgun while in bed. Mary and the children were missing, leading to initial fears they had been kidnapped. Underscore 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 underscore. Initial shock and investigation. The community was stunned and devastated, unable to comprehend who would harm a beloved pastor. A law enforcement immediately launched an investigation, treating the missing family as a potential abduction case. However, within one day, police found Mary Winkler and the children in Orange Beach, Alabama, safe and unharmed. Underscore 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 underscore. Revelation. Mary Winkler as the shooter. During police questioning, Mary confessed to shooting Matthew, stating that it happened while he was in bed, and she then fled with their children. She described the shooting as an accident following an argument and mentioned long-standing marital issues, including financial pressures and claims of emotional and physical abuse, which she said had built up over time. Mary's confession shocked many in the congregation and the wider public, given the couple's outwardly perfect life. Underscore 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 underscore. Key details of the death. A weapon, 12-gauge shotgun. A location of wound, back, indicating he was shot while lying down. A cause of death, the shotgun wound caused immediate fatal injuries. Immediate aftermath, Mary covered him with a blanket, packed up the children, and fled. Underscore 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 underscore. Why this moment matters in the case. Matthew's death was the catalyst for uncovering hidden turmoil within the Winkler household, revealing that the image of a perfect pastor's family often concealed deeper issues. It launched a legal battle around spousal abuse, financial fraud, and mental health, which became central in Mary's defense during her trial. This tragic event also sparked broader discussions on domestic violence within religious communities and how appearances can hide severe private conflicts. Shock within the community. A tight-knit, small-town environment. Selmer, Tennessee, was a quiet, small community where everyone knew each other and the local church was the heart of many families' lives. The 4th Street Church of Christ, where Matthew Winkler preached, was a central gathering place for worship, youth programs, and community support. Matthew was deeply admired. He was seen as warm, approachable, and devout. He regularly visited congregation members, supported youth, and often led community prayer meetings. Church members described him as the kind of man everyone looked up to. Underscore 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 underscore. The disappearance and discovery. On March 22, 2006, when Matthew failed to show up for Wednesday evening service, parishioners immediately knew something was wrong, as Matthew never missed church without notifying them. Several members drove to the Winkler home to check in, fearing he might be ill. When they entered the home, they found Matthew dead on the bedroom floor, covered with a blanket. The house was not ransacked. There was no forced entry, and valuables were untouched. Mary and the children were missing, raising fears of kidnapping or a targeted crime. Underscore 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 underscore. Immediate community reaction. The murder of a young, beloved pastor sent shockwaves. A prayer circles formed immediately, with members hoping Mary and the children were safe. A local media quickly covered the case, heightening fear in the community about safety. Members were devastated and confused, unable to comprehend who had harmed Matthew. Many initially speculated it was a home invasion or burglary gone wrong. However, the calmness of the crime scene and the fact that Mary and the children were missing did not fit that theory. Underscore 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 underscore. Stunning revelation. Mary's confession. When police located Mary in Alabama, the community was preparing for vigils and funerals while hoping for answers. Then came the shocking confession. Mary admitted she was the one who shot Matthew. She told authorities it followed a heated argument and years of tension in their marriage. The community was blindsided, as many had believed the Winklers had a perfect marriage. Underscore 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 underscore. Why this shock was so intense. Keycap 1. Matthew's role. As a pastor, he was seen as a moral guide, making his murder feel like a betrayal of the community's safety. Keycap 2. Mary's confession. The idea that a pastor's wife, a mother of 3, could kill her husband challenged the town's perceptions of family, faith, and trust. Keycap 3. Hidden domestic issues. The case exposed the hidden dysfunction behind a seemingly perfect household, causing many to reflect on their assumptions about happy families. Keycap 4. Church's emotional impact. Congregants felt a mix of grief, confusion, and anger, attending services in tears and struggling to process the tragedy during sermons and prayer meetings. The Matthew Winkler case does not involve Miranda Barber. White heavy check mark. Correct clarification. Matthew Winkler's wife was Mary Winkler, not Miranda Barber. Mary Winkler was the one arrested for Matthew Winkler's murder. Mary Winkler's arrest. underscore 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 underscore. Fleeing after the shooting. After Mary Winkler shot Matthew in their bedroom on March 22, 2006, she covered his body with a blanket, gathered their 3 daughters, ages 8, 6, and 1, fled the home in the family minivan without notifying authorities. For over 24 hours, the community and police feared Mary and the children had been abducted. Underscore 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 underscore. Tracked down in Alabama. Using credit card and ATM activity, law enforcement tracked Mary. She was located the next day in Orange Beach, Alabama, approximately 340 miles away. The children were found safe and unharmed. Mary was calm when approached by law enforcement and did not resist arrest. Underscore 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 underscore. The confession. During police interrogation, Mary admitted to shooting Matthew with a 12-gauge shotgun while he was in bed. She claimed it was not premeditated and described the shooting as an accident during an argument. She expressed regret and stated she only wanted him to stop yelling. Allegations of abuse. Mary revealed details that shifted the narrative. She claimed Matthew had verbally and physically abused her and that he had pressured her into wearing wigs and high heels during sexual activities. She alleged emotional control and financial stress, including Matthew's involvement in fraudulent financial schemes that she was forced to participate in. Mary described years of fear and intimidation that led to a breaking point on the night of the shooting. Underscore 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 underscore. Evidence supporting the arrest. Gunshot residue was found on Mary, confirming her proximity to the weapon discharge. The murder weapon was recovered, matching the shell casing at the scene. Her confession aligned with crime scene evidence, including the position of Matthew's body and the lack of forced entry. Underscore 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 underscore. Community reaction to the arrest. The congregation and the public were shocked and divided. Many struggled to reconcile the image of Mary as a gentle pastor's wife with her role in the murder. Some expressed sympathy, believing her allegations of abuse and viewing her as a victim driven to desperation. Others felt anger and betrayal, seeing her as a murderer who destroyed her family and community. Underscore 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 underscore. Summary. Mary Winkler's arrest was a pivotal moment. It ended the search for the missing family. It transformed the narrative from an assumed burglary or abduction to a domestic homicide. It opened discussions on domestic abuse, mental health, and hidden family struggles, making this case a landmark in how the public views domestic violence within seemingly perfect families. Investigation and forensic evidence. Underscore 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 underscore. Correcting names again. This case involves Mary Winkler, not Miranda. Underscore 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 underscore. The crime scene examination. After Matthew Winkler was found dead on March 22, 2006, police secured the Winkler home in Selmer, Tennessee, treating it as a homicide scene. Matthew was found on the bedroom floor, shot in the back with a 12-gauge shotgun. There were no signs of forced entry or a struggle, indicating the shooter was someone he trusted or who lived in the home. Underscore 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 underscore. Early red flags. Investigators quickly noticed valuables in the home were untouched, ruling out robbery as a motive. Matthew's wife, Mary Winkler, and their 3 children were missing, raising suspicion. Community tips and ATM tracking suggested Mary was moving intentionally, not under duress. Underscore 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 underscore. Tracking Mary Winkler. Using ATM transactions and phone data, law enforcement tracked Mary to Orange Beach, Alabama, the day after the murder. When she was located, Mary and her daughters were safe, calm, and unharmed. She did not resist arrest and cooperated with officers. Underscore 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 underscore. Mary Winkler's confession. During questioning, Mary admitted to shooting Matthew while he was lying in bed. She stated it was not planned and described it as an accident during a heated argument. She claimed she had suffered years of emotional, physical, and sexual abuse, saying the situation escalated the night before the shooting. Underscore 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 underscore. Key forensic evidence. Keycap 1 gunshot residue, GSR. Tests revealed gunshot residue on Mary's hands, proving she fired the shotgun or was in close proximity when it discharged. Keycap 2 murder weapon. The 12-gauge shotgun was recovered from the vehicle Mary used to flee. Ballistics confirmed it was the weapon used in Matthew's murder. Keycap 3 autopsy findings. Matthew was shot in the back while lying down, supporting Mary's statement of the shooting happening while he was in bed. The shot caused severe internal damage, leading to rapid death. Keycap 4 crime scene consistency. No signs of a break-in. No defensive wounds or evidence of Matthew getting up after the shot. Mary covering Matthew's body with a blanket showed a level of emotional connection to the victim. Underscore 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 underscore. Contradictory elements. While Mary claimed the shooting was accidental, the positioning of the gun and trajectory of the shot raised questions about how it could occur accidentally. Her calm demeanor during the arrest and confession led some to doubt the claim of panic. She fled the scene with the children, which law enforcement interpreted as fleeing to avoid consequences, although Mary claimed she left to protect her children from seeing their father dead. Underscore 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 underscore. Building the narrative of guilt. Using white heavy checkmark her confession. White heavy checkmark GSR on her hands. White heavy checkmark recovery of the murder weapon. White heavy checkmark the positioning of Matthew's body. White heavy checkmark the absence of other suspects. Authorities built a strong case that Mary was the shooter and that the act was intentional, though her defense argued it was influenced by years of abuse. Underscore 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 underscore. Why this was critical. The forensic evidence. Small Blue Diamond ruled out other suspects. Small Blue Diamond disproved theories of a robbery or break-in. Small Blue Diamond confirmed Mary's involvement, while still leaving room for debate on intent and motive. It set the stage for the trial, where the central question became whether Mary's act was premeditated murder or the desperate act of an abused wife. Court proceedings and wider implications. Underscore 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 underscore. The trial. State versus Mary Winkler. Mary Winkler was charged with first-degree murder, which could carry a life sentence if convicted. However, her defense team argued Mary had endured years of emotional, physical, and sexual abuse at the hands of Matthew. The shooting was not premeditated but a tragic culmination of ongoing domestic violence. She only meant to confront Matthew with the shotgun, and it discharged accidentally during the argument. Underscore 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 underscore. Key moments in the trial. Keycap 1. Mary's testimony. She testified that Matthew was controlling and abusive, describing humiliating sexual demands and physical intimidation. As she spoke about financial fraud Matthew forced her to participate in, which increased her fear and stress. Mary claimed she did not intend to kill Matthew and just wanted him to stop yelling. Keycap 2. Prosecution's argument. They argue the act was intentional and deliberate, pointing to the direct shot and her fleeing the scene. They highlighted inconsistencies in Mary's statements and noted she did not call for help after the shooting. Keycap 3. Expert witnesses. Mental health professionals testified about Mary's psychological state, consistent with battered woman syndrome, which could explain her actions under prolonged abuse. underscore 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 underscore. The verdict. After a highly publicized trial, the jury found Mary Winkler, white heavy checkmark, guilty of voluntary manslaughter, crossmark not guilty of first-degree murder. This meant the jury believed Mary intended to kill but acted in the heat of passion under provocation rather than premeditation. She was sentenced to 3 years in prison but served only about 7 months in jail, with the remainder on probation. Underscore 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 underscore. Public reaction. The short sentence sparked mixed reactions. Many viewed it as too lenient for taking a life. Others saw it as justified, given the alleged abuse, and highlighted the need for compassion toward domestic violence victims who feel trapped. Underscore 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 underscore. Wider implications of the case. Keycap 1. Domestic violence awareness. The Winkler case became a high-profile example of how domestic disputes can escalate to deadly violence, forcing discussions in churches and communities about hidden abuse in seemingly perfect families, the mental and emotional toll of prolonged abuse, the lack of safe resources for victims in faith-based communities. Underscore 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 underscore. Keycap 2. Legal impact. Battered woman defense. Mary's defense highlighted battered woman syndrome, influencing how courts consider emotional and psychological abuse, the context in which victims of abuse may commit violent acts. Underscore 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 underscore. Keycap 3. Faith communities and abuse. The case forced churches to confront the reality that abuse can exist within faith-based homes, reevaluate how they support families and victims of domestic violence without forcing them to remain in unsafe marriages. Underscore 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 underscore. Keycap for media and public perception. The case showed how media coverage can shape narratives, with Mary's story becoming a lens for debates on women's rights and self-defense in abusive relationships. Whether her short sentence set a precedent for handling similar cases. Underscore 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 underscore. Keycap 5. Family aftermath. After her release, Mary regained partial custody of her daughters, continuing to rebuild her life while maintaining that she still loved Matthew despite the tragic outcome. Underscore 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 underscore.
Summary.
The Mary Winkler trial was not just about one tragic shooting, but became a case study on domestic violence, mental health, and justice within family and religious structures. It exposed red flags often ignored until it is too late and emphasized the urgent need for systems that allow victims of abuse to seek help safely.